to share something with you. That might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife or something completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from here, and this has been like a therapy session.
This is CASSIUS for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. We're on a bit of a time restraint here because of you, mate.
6 hours to get to Liverpool. Then I went to the hotel because I thought that's where the press conference was. And then I had to jump in the van with Big John, Johnny Fisher, Tibbsy, Adam Morley. So, Libosh, we are here, ready to go, son.
Okay, let's talk about the show. Obviously, big disappointment. Obviously, Callum Smith not on the bill. But fair play to you, the show still goes on. And yeah, just run me through the card, mate.
It's a good card. I mean, look, Diego Pacheco, who for us may be one of our best prospects worldwide. We say prospect, he's now 17-0, undefeated super middleweight, part of the Benavidez camp. Huge puncher, great fighter, young. Been with us since he was 17 years of age. And now looking to headline in the States. Fights Jack Cullen, which is a big step up for him. You know, we know Jack so well, always in great fights. Great fight when he beat Avni Yildirim. Should have won the European title. Great fight with Felix Cash. It's a good test for Diego Pacheco. Robbie Davis against Daryl Folio, you should enjoy talking to. He's a right character. Big fight for Robbie Davis. Peter McGrail, signed now with Matchroom, I think.
Great talent.
Yeah, unbelievable talent. For me, future world champion from Liverpool. Rhiannon Dixon goes for her first title, for the Commonwealth title. It's a great fight as well. Johnny Fisher, of course, and his mad army of fans. Paddy Lacey, Campbell Hatton, George Liddard as well. Good card, and looking forward to being in Liverpool on Saturday. Got a good crowd, and looking forward to it.
Live on the zone.
Absolutely, always, baby.
Okay, let's jump straight into it. Right, first,
Go on.
come on. First of all, what was your thoughts about Conor Benn actually doing this interview with Piers Morgan in the first place?
Well, as I said to you the other day, it's all on him, in the respect of doing interviews, getting advice, whatever he wants to do. We haven't given him any advice. We're not telling him what outlets to speak to. He's doing everything himself. He's has nothing to hide in his mind, so he's happy to speak to these people. Piers Morgan is one of the biggest news outlets out there. I think it's very difficult sometimes for a young boxer to be quizzed live on TV, but he chose to do that. Big exposure. Everyone's talking about it. For me, now, 6 months on, having talked about this for every day, we're ready to announce Conor Benn's next fight. And I can't wait because I'm done talking about it. Everyone out there can have their opinion about it. And, I'll always answer questions on it. But it's time. It's time now for Conor Benn to get back in the ring. Love him, hate him, write him off, whatever you want to do. I don't care. I just want to see him fight again. And we will be dropping big fight news and a big fight for Conor Benn. He'll be fighting in June, and there'll be further details in due course.
Just coming back to that interview, what did you think of Piers Morgan's repetitive question about why the 270-page dossier hasn't been handed to the British Boxing Board of Control? Does he have a point?
I think so. He's suing the British Boxing Board of Control. So at the moment, you're not going to go through the document when you have a legal case going on with the board. Pretty simple, really. But look, that's over to Conor Benn. Conor does need to get over the argument with the board. He feels very badly done by the board. I don't think the board have acted brilliantly well in this. I think everybody made mistakes. But I want Conor Benn to fight in Britain. So we will be trying to bridge the gap between Conor Benn and the board to try and make that happen.
How are you going to do that?
I don't know. It's very difficult because at the moment he can't stand them. The legal action is about to get underway. So right now, I just want Conor Benn to focus on his boxing. Let us handle maybe the conversations with the British Boxing Board of Control. For the long-term future of Conor Benn, it's important that he's able to fight in this country. At the moment, in his head, he don't care about fighting in this country again. I want him to fight in this country. There's some huge fights for him in this country. His next fight will not be in Britain, and that will be announced in due course.
Do you think the public learned anything different from what we already didn't know on the back of that interview with Piers Morgan?
Look, there's a couple of things that were mentioned in that interview that we know do not make sense. And I think he needs to ram those home a little bit more. But people still think his excuse is eggs, which it never was. You can't win at all. People still talking about eggs. He never even mentioned eggs. But how long are we going to talk about it? So for me, I'm done talking about it. I'm talking about Conor Benn's next fight, where the whole world is going to watch. It's going to take place in June. It's going to be a massive fight. And as I said, we're close now to agreeing that fight and signing the contract.
Okay, so we're assuming that you're talking about this Manny Pacquiao fight because we've seen Sean Gibbons, etc., putting out posts, Conor Benn putting out posts with kind of the signing emojis, etc. Surely that's nailed on now, isn't it, for the UAE?
No, there's 3 fights that we're looking at for Conor Benn next. That is one of the fights. Okay, Chris Eubank Jr. is another fight, which personally, Conor Benn wants that fight badly, right? And then there's another fight as well. We've had multiple offers from the Middle East for Manny Pacquiao against Conor Benn. We're seeing if that is going to progress. There's no contract been sent to Manny Pacquiao. There has been conversations and negotiations with Manny Pacquiao's team and Sean Gibbons. No decision on the opponent, but it will be fairly imminent in terms of that next step.
When you mentioned Chris Eubank, there was a little bit of a Twitter back and forth between the two of them a couple of days ago, where Conor Benn responded to Chris Eubank's tweet by saying that he tried to, in Conor Benn's tweet, tried to blackmail him for £1 million. Can you make any comment on that? Or what that's about?
Yeah. Chris Eubank wanted to go ahead with a fight. And then at the death said, oh, by the way, you got to pay me this. So listen,
reference to the previous.
Everybody, sits on a high horse about this. But yeah, that was basically the situation. He wanted to proceed with the fight, but he wanted more money.
Is Ben Eubank dependent on Eubank Smith happening, if that happens?
It's up to Chris Eubank Jr. If he wants to make a lot more money than he's going to get to fight Liam Smith, he can fight Chris Eubank Jr., Conor Benn. If you don't want to fight Conor Benn, I understand. He's coming off the back of a bad knockout, and the way Conor Benn is at the moment, I think it's a very dangerous fight for Chris Eubank Jr. But Conor's said, no catch weight, we'll do it at 160, I'll give you more weight up, and he wants to take his head off. But we'll see.
Couple more things. Talking to Jamie Moore there, he said that there's good progressive talks in regards to Chantel Cameron and Katie Taylor. Can you give us an update?
Yeah, that is the fight. I mean, for the first time in Katie Taylor's career, we saw her call out someone, and she called out Chantel Cameron. You know, many years people, particularly people in boxing, felt, Katie Taylor, Brian Peters, Ross, they'll duck Chantel Cameron. She wants all the smoke. That is a brilliant fight. That is a tougher fight than Amanda Serrano for Katie Taylor, right? So this is the undisputed at 135 against the undisputed at 140. We're in final negotiations with Katie and Chantel. Both fighters want it, and as we're seeing in boxing at the moment, when 2 fighters want it, the fight happens. When they don't, generally it doesn't. So I believe you'll see that fight. Hopefully we can announce it shortly.
What are your thoughts on Alex Krassik's comments regarding Fury and Usyk yesterday?
I'll tell you this. Anthony Joshua fought Alexander Usyk back-to-back, no fucking problems. No questions, no long negotiations. That's my mandatory, I'll fight him. Everyone said, swerve Alexander Usyk. He's a tough fight. You don't want to fight him. AJ said, no, I want to be undisputed. Give me Usyk. Done. The rematch comes in. Oh, you don't want to fight Usyk, you need a warm-up fight. Give me Usyk. When are you guys out there going to start understanding? Right? It's not about the money. I'll fight him for free. As long as the tickets are free for the general public, fuck off. You want money. You want too much money. You're not the draw you think you are. That fight's not as big as you think it is. Everyone talks about big fights in the Middle East for heavyweight world championship. Well, guess what? There's only one person that's delivered big fights in the Middle East, and that is moi. Right? 3 fights, 3 world heavyweight championships, 2 in Saudi Arabia, and also the big card in Abu Dhabi as well. Greed. If you are about legacy, if you want to be undisputed, then you take the fight. Oh, so you're going to get 50 or 60 million instead of the 80 or 100 or 125 million that you asked for. Fuck me. You've all been played for all these years. But concentrate on one thing. April the 1st, O2 Arena. AJ is back against Jermaine Franklin. Never ducked anybody, never tried to escape from fights, always wanted the fights, fought all these people in progression. Never told porky pies, never went on social media saying, I'm going to give all my money away, I'm going to do this. Fuck right off. Get behind Anthony Joshua, O2 Arena, live on DAZN, Jermaine Franklin. But in the meantime, we're ready for
Hold
Liverpool.
on 1 second. What? Do you think Fury and Usyk happens?
Maybe. But it's not like, if you really want the fight, you have to make concessions, right? Fury's got a point, he's a bigger draw, right? I'll tell you something now. When Tyson Fury drew with Deontay Wilder, and he didn't have a world championship belt, we offered him 60-40 to fight Anthony Joshua as a voluntary challenger. Not as a mandatory challenger, as a voluntary challenger. He come back, he said, I will only fight AJ on 50-50. At the time, AJ was a much bigger draw. He was the world unified heavyweight world champion, and Tyson Fury had no belts. We said no, 60-40. The fight didn't happen. Tyson Fury is worth more than 50-50 in this fight. But if you want to be the first undisputed heavyweight world championship since Lennox Lewis, then you take 50-50 and you get the fight done. And if he's a little middleweight, and if he's no good, then easy money. But he knows how good Alexander Usyk is. But when I go back to our guy, I know how good Alexander Usyk is. I know he's the undisputed cruiserweight champion of the world. I know he's the Olympic gold medalist. I know he's had 400 fights. I don't care. It's my duty as the champion to face the best. And that's what AJ's always done. I'm going to do the press conference now.
I ain't seen this fire in you in a long time, mate. I thought it'd gone out, mate.
Because when are you going to fucking wake up? Oh, well, legacy. It ain't legacy. Some people care about legacy, some people don't care about legacy. And I care about legacy. Jeez!
Press is about to start. Thank you very much, Eddie Hearn. Thank you.
I'm going to share something with you. That might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife or something. Completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from it, and this has been like a therapy session.